Hello and welcome back to episode 9 of the Bad Psychics podcast. It's me, Z. I am back. I very much enjoyed Wrestlemania being Z. Yes. And I'm joined by two people who are not Z. I predict that this person will say the word yeet at least 5 times. It's Mao, because you're a big fan of him. You're a huge
Yes,
fan of him.
yes, I'm a big fan of Jay, so Yeet.
That's one.
You know what? You're probably not too far off because I probably mentioned Yeeting a lot when we discussed that match,
Two.
just because he is the man who eats. There you go,
Three.
another one.
We better be getting a counter in this in the edit. I'm going to be really disappointed if we don't get a yeet counter in the bottom corner of the actual video.
Well, four in total. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Give Z more work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I predict that this person will complain at least 5 times about the fact that a certain Nigerian giant didn't show up. It's Michael.
Well, yeah, come on. It would have been way better. Like, he's better than Travis Scott. At least give me that.
Yeah, he's because
That is true. That is true.
Travis is not a wrestler. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm probably better than Travis Scott.
Yes. Yes,
Not
but
hard.
plus the fact Travis is not an 8 foot tall Nigerian giant.
Neither am I, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, as far as we know.
Yeah. I can make it certain I'm not.
I mean, we did say you had the growth spurt last week, Z, didn't we?
Yeah. So it could have happened again.
Oh,
You also look about 20 years younger, so that's you're doing quite
Yeah.
well for yourself.
Thanks, me being Z. I appreciate that compliment. So I just wanted to start off with hearing about both your thoughts on how Mania went. Start with Mao.
I think both nights were a bit mixed in my view. There was like one half of the show, I think, for either night was good, and the other night it was very good, and then the other half was just a bit there, really. I was not. It kind of bookended. It bookended itself with two Blair halves, and I guess the middle bit of the two nights. The last bit of the first night, the first bit of the second night. I think was probably great. Like if you just change them around, be perfect. But no, it was like middle of the road, I'd say, just overall. And yeah, the ending of the main event, we'll get on to. It's certainly something.
It was certainly something. So Michael, what was your thoughts on the 2-night affair of WrestleMania?
Yeah, I think I'm a bit similar to Mal. I think essentially it's just called flip the main events is the solution. It feels like if you take night one's main event and put it on night two becomes like a proper WrestleMania, and night one is essentially just like a B-level pay-per-view. Like it's almost like WrestleMania warm-up, and actual WrestleMania is what it would have become. Because yeah, it felt like night one was a lot of the matches where it was like, we're just chucking this on the card to chuck it on the WrestleMania card, or because it kind of needs to be there. Not all of them, there were some better matches on night one still. But it did feel like the much stronger matches were all on night two, especially apart from obviously, like I said, the main event. And I think I probably mentioned this even before we got into WrestleMania, but they had the wrong tag title match as well. Very, very obviously, they should have had the like 6 teams or whatever from SmackDown in a tag title match, because it did feel like I always feel like WrestleMania, I prefer it when it has that big multi-man match, and it felt like it missed that as well a little bit. So just flip it to the SmackDown tag titles or whatever like World Tag Team Championship naming convention they went with. I can't keep track of which one's the WWE tag titles and which one's the World Tag titles. But yeah, just put the SmackDown guys on there, let them go crazy on some ladders, and it makes it even better.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I think most of my thoughts have been summed up, but yeah, some of the choices in like some certain matches were very interesting, and some of the booking felt a bit interesting and a bit not how I do things, especially the main event. But we'll get to that very soon because obviously it was one of the first ones we predicted. So. Okay, it's now time to switch to our definitely not a spreadsheet. Okay, so here's our predictions, and we will go over them one by one, starting with the main event of night 2, which was Cody Rhodes versus John Cena, which went for 25 minutes, where John Cena defeated Cody Rhodes, which all three of us predicted. So as simple as that, we got it all right. Michael, give a rundown of why that main event wasn't very good.
I mean, in 2 words, The Rock, essentially. Not even just him not being there, it's his entire involvement in the storyline. From what he's now coming out and saying, essentially, wasn't the plan. And now he's basically The Rock is just making an entire mess out of this situation that he'd already made a mess of. It seems like essentially he got inserted into the storyline because he claims it's because tickets weren't selling. What I think it was The Rock wanted to be important again. And in doing that, he made the storyline all about himself without then having actually any availability to be part of the actual story. Like, The Rock couldn't have it as though it was just other people being the storyline. He sort of stuck his nose in it and made it so people were expecting him to still be part of it. And then when he wasn't, it kind of made the whole thing seem dumb because, Cena turned for The Rock this is like the big thing that hadn't happened ever in his career properly, was Cena turning heel. And then he does it because of The Rock's involvement. And then The Rock isn't involved anymore. I think that's the big reason why people are so frustrated with it, is that a big part of what is supposed to be one of the biggest moments in wrestling history, essentially, just kind of buggered off halfway through. And then we got no real payoff to it. I like genuinely. I reckon it would have been much better to see like the same match essentially, but had like the original plan of Cena turning heel during the match happened. It would have been way better because you get that big moment, and then you're not reliant on The Rock's availability to play off the story properly. For as much as it's people want to look at it as it's sports entertainment. It's still storytelling. That's what professional wrestling is. And when you've got components of that story just jumping in and out at random points, and that component is The Rock, by the way, and the decision of jumping in and out is made by The Rock, it basically just screws with anyone's ability to tell a story properly. It'd be like if you had in a Marvel movie, like Robert Downey Jr. decided to come back as Iron Man for like 10 seconds to do the most important thing and then bugger off again. Like, it wouldn't work in the story, would it? Like, you have, if you're going to have someone come in and be part of like the biggest part of a story, they've got to commit to actually being part of it. And I think that is just why there is so much frustration with it. It also doesn't help that essentially WWE's attitude to people not being, super happy with it is telling you to, F off. Like, and that's not me being, hyperbolic with it at all. That's a direct quote from Triple H.
Sure
except
is.
he didn't say F, and he said it multiple times now. So when you're basically telling people, if you don't like our thing, go away, what you're basically saying is, we want to have less people watching our thing. So it's just the entire thing around this, both in storyline and out of storyline, has just been a mess. And I feel sorry for both Cody Rhodes and John Cena, because Cody Rhodes obviously has done a fantastic job as world champion over the last year. He's made it so people care about this, and when stuff isn't, people aren't as invested in the story, it's because Cody got them so invested in the first place. And John Cena having this final year run where he's finally turned heel, then get it overshadowed by The Rock, and then The Rock not committing to it. And then they're both going out there as good company men trying to defend it, or at least John Cena is more so. I do feel sorry for them to an extent. They're still multi-millionaires, so you can't feel too bad for them.
Trust Michael to explain his point by mentioning Marvel. Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's how I've described this before. This is how I got into wrestling. It was stop looking at it like it's trying to be combat sports. When it's much more similar to a comic book movie. It's essentially your baby faces and your heels, or your superheroes and your supervillains. It's telling a story, and they're basically doing live stunt fighting. When you look at that's genuinely the viewpoint I took that got me into wrestling, which is why I sort of lean back on that sort of viewpoint to explain how they should be structuring these storylines, because that's what it is. They are telling narrative stories. They're not trying, this isn't just stick two guys in a ring and see who's better, because you decide who's better at fighting, apparently. It's so you can't just do that and have that be the story. Yeah, you can have a story of like someone's trying to be better than the other one, but there has to be some coherence to it. There has to be sense to the structure of the story. You can't just throw random things into it and assume it's going to work just because people go, oh, look, it's The Rock. The story's good now. That's not how storytelling works.
Yeah, and I think the other man involved being Travis Scott, not a wrestler, man who kind of doesn't really know what he's doing. I think based on his previous experiences being in the ring, like not knocking Cody senseless, trying to just being in the wrong spot at the wrong time, etc. Yeah, I think I can only. I'm just repeating what Michael said. Really, it's very much just the Rock wasn't there. They kind of had to go with the other guy who was in the ending of when Cena turned heel, and it was Travis Scott, who, well, he's a big celebrity, obviously, but yeah, it doesn't make much sense, and you could very much tell that even the crowd really didn't really understand what was going on. Like they did expect The Rock, and he just wasn't there. Yeah, I don't know, just the match before Travis Scott turned up was fine. I think if they had like an actual decent ending to it, we'd be much happier. Obviously, would be, but I think we'd be much happier overall with WrestleMania. But it just fell a bit flat, really. Can't really say much else, but it was just flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say also it didn't really help that they did the whole, Cody won't hit him with the belt thing as well. It makes Cody look a bit dumb of like, oh, these two guys hate each other. They're going to do whatever they want to each other. And Cody's like, oh no, I don't want to hurt you too bad. You're fighting each other. That's the point here.
Yeah.
Like Cody's like, I don't want to cheat to win. It's like,
it's
well,
not
he's
like,
gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to like, it's not just a matter of going, oh, if you have these convictions, I'm not going to cheat to win. Don't like do the weird hesitation nonsense. Like surely they've been doing those sort of things for years, and no one's ever really liked that. The whole baby face is too good to do this thing, but they're sort of thinking about it. Maybe I don't know. It just makes them look dumb, and I think people have bought into Cody too much for them to sort of get away with something like that. It doesn't make Cena look good as the champion, and it makes Cody look a bit dumb as the babyface, and no one likes to buy into a stupid babyface, essentially.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird thing as well, just because like Cody has tried to cheat before in matches. I mean, so they've been like holding the tights, etc., and against other heels, but it just seems like it's a very arbitrary point to stop. Oh no, we've got this big bad guy who's going to ruin wrestling, as he said. I can't hit him with the title. Oh no, I'm too good for this. Oh no. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense. Anyway, we've rambled on enough, Eloise.
Yeah, I mean, that was great. I didn't even need to ask any more questions. You just answered everything I needed. Yeah, that was great. It's just let you just run away with that. Yeah, there's not much more to add, So yeah, we all said Cena would win. It was quite obvious. It felt quite telegraphed beforehand that it was going to be Cena to win.
Yeah,
and
yeah, I think if they didn't, that would be even more of a mistake, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. It would just be kind of clunky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So let's look at the points, which should be. Yep, because we've all predicted it. It's 5 points each. Yeah, not much to say there. Okay, next match is Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, which was the main event of night 1, which ran for 32 minutes 39 seconds, which is an important fact that we will get back to later. And it was a great match. And the winner was Seth Rollins, which we all predicted CM Punk would win. So no points here. So there's not much to go on about points. But Mao, explain to me what happened in the match.
Paul Heyman punched people in the dick. Was basically the entire ending. I mean, obviously it's the whole Heyman and the whole Heyman being on Punk's side, but also being allegedly loyal to Roman. Then big swerve, they punch them both in the dick, and Seth Rollins is now a Paul Heyman guy. I mean, the match before it was great, like generally. But what you kind of expect from these three, sort of big moves, lots of nice little sequences. And then the ending was but Paul Heyman punches people in the dick, and they did tease the Shield chair shots before Paul Heyman punched Reigns in the dick,
Oh yeah.
which was I think another one of how many teasers they've done of that. At some point it will happen at some point, but not this time. And yeah, the ending did seem a bit weird at first, but I can with them trying to form with what happened on Raw later, they're trying to form some form of group with Paul Heyman, presumably to go against maybe Reigns and Punk and their lot. Maybe building up to some form of big tag match at SummerSlam, maybe, or maybe even Survivor Series. Yeah, I can see what they're doing, but that's going to be Backlash. Okay, I was going to say,
It could be.
Yeah.
It very much could be Backlash.
I was wondering.
Like a 2v2 at Backlash, perhaps, like just doing
Okay.
Rollins Breaker,
Yeah.
and then eventually you add more people in.
Yeah.
And knowing how many dates Roman
That's
Reigns
true,
actually
that's
does, that probably will easily get. It's like he'll do that one at Backlash, he'll do like a match at SummerSlam, and the next one will be blooming War Games. So that's about what he's doing. That's how often Roman Reigns wrestles at this point.
Yeah. Really good. It's the usual sort of WWE main event interference ending, which is seemingly more common nowadays. But yeah, at least this one had a bit of follow up from on Raw at least.
So during the first episode of predicting this, I said that I'd basically been turned to think that Seth would win this, and but I'd already put down Punk, but I was like, Seth very much could win this because I'd heard theories of, oh, imagine a double swerve, and that happened. So my question to Michael is, do you think this is the right winner in the end? Like after everything, after Raw, which you can talk about as well, like, is this the right winner?
I think yes. I think I outright called it in the last video. I said that there was a chance of Heyman turning on both, siding with Rollins. I also said in that it felt like they were doing it for the sake of doing it. I think I'm probably wrong. I think there is more thought to it than that, and I think it's an interesting thing for them to move forwards with. I think it was a bit of a, for as much people like to say it was telegraphed, it was a bit half-assed telegraphed. It was a bit of a, oh, it could happen because it could happen sort of thing. But I think in this case, it's somewhat justified because of how interesting this would be moving forwards. I think I also probably did say this last time, that putting Heyman and Rollins together, they are two people brilliant at what they're supposed to be doing out there, and they will do brilliant things together. Adding in Bron Breakker is just another one who's brilliant, and anyone else they add in. I think literally just before this, I was reading certain suggestions of who else could get added in, and I saw the idea of like Fraxium getting chucked in with them, which would be even more incredible. People like I also keep seeing people trying to liken this being Evolution 2.0 and saying that Heyman is the Ric Flair, and I'm like, no, that's not. Like, I was not around to see Evolution. Even I know that's not what Ric Flair was in that. Ric Flair wrestled more than most of the guys. Probably more than like Roman Reigns has in the last 3 years. Like. But I think it's one where, it's more about what this means going forward rather than what it meant to the story that had already happened. It feels like there was enough within those three guys just to go, these three guys are going to have a match and they don't like each other, that it worked. They could still do this big swerve to then do something going forward, rather than it being WrestleMania being the end point of the story. WrestleMania feels more like it's now an earlier point in the story. I think everyone's sort of conditioned to treat WrestleMania like a season finale, essentially. But I think in this case, it really isn't. And I think that's something that can work.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I'm glad that they've already started the process of strapping a rocket to Bron Breakker, because spoiler alerts, something happened earlier in the show, so which we will get to, but yeah, so I mean, this is more of a formality than actually uh, anything worth seeing, but we all got 0 points here because we all thought Punk would win, so there's that.
Yay.
Yay, great predicting. Okay. Now everyone's favorite main event, I mean opener of night one. It was the first match we were blessed with. Oh, Michael's so happy right now. It was
Right.
it was it was Gunther versus Jey Uso, which was 16 minutes long, and
Yeah.
it was also a title change, and a certain Jey Uso won, and I predicted Jey Uso to win. The other two predicted Gunther to win, so I was right, and Yeet Man prevailed in a match that I honestly I hit my opinion here is I don't think it was a bad match. It wasn't amazing, but there was enjoyable parts. The ending wasn't, but the match was fine. It was nothing wrong with it. I enjoyed it. Um, but we can get on about the finish. Uh, I'll let Michael talk about the finish and his enjoyment of Jey Uso beating Gunther.
This is the thing. The rest of the match could have been as all right as it was. Like, I don't even really remember how good I thought the rest of the match was. The ending, I hated the ending so much, it ruined the entire thing for me. Like, had Jay just won normally, I'd have been a bit like, I don't really like this, but okay. The way he won it sucked. I'm sorry. I know you're allowed to disagree with me. If you liked it, sure. I do love it when people can enjoy things that I can't, but I can't enjoy that. It made Gunther look like an idiot.
Yeah.
And that's like, this is blooming Gunther. This is supposed to be like, he's often built up as like the proper like final boss of stuff. Like when there was, people have compared it to when he tapped out to Ilya Dragunov for the NXT UK title. The difference there was that Ilya Dragunov and Gunther basically tried to kill each other for about 6 months beforehand. And in that match, they'd been going for ages and ages, and these two have been like, basically battering the hell out of each other. That's not what happened here. This was like a 15-minute match where all of a sudden, where Gunther had done the exact same move to Jay, and Jay had held on for like 3 minutes getting choked out or whatever it felt like. And then Gunther taps in like 2 blooming seconds. And there was, I've seen some people say, oh yeah, if you get put in a sleeper hold for real, that's what will happen. If you get put in any submission hold for real, you tap out immediately. Wrestling doesn't work the same way.
No.
Wrestling, there's an element of suspension of disbelief that you can't really apply to, you can't apply normal logic to wrestling submissions. Because if someone puts you in an actual armbar, it's not like, oh, you can just hold on to the pain for a little bit. You're tapping immediately because your arm is getting snapped off. It's just, Jay tapping him out so easy. There was no struggle, anything. It's just, after all that they've done with Gunther, it just makes him look so dumb. Yep. And now he's seemingly going into a feud with Pat bloody McAfee. Like, I know, like, it looks cool and that, and it's like, oh yeah, he's beating the crap out of people, but like, it's Pat McAfee, and all I feel like is going to happen, he's going to have a match with McAfee, he's going to like kill him essentially, but like not enough to take him off the commentary, annoyingly. And then they'll go, oh, but we'll bring out someone to beat you up, and it'll be blooming Goldberg, and this is how we get to Gunther Goldberg, a match I have basically zero interest in seeing, because I have zero interest in watching Goldberg wrestle in 2025. I had zero interest in watching Goldberg wrestle in the last like 5 years, essentially. But yeah, this match is just pure frustration for me. There is so much about this that I don't like, that I can't enjoy any of it. It's great for, like, I'm sure Jay will be a decent enough world champion for the next like month and a bit before he probably loses it to Seth Rollins. Getting to see Jay and Jimmy be happy, and Sami Zayn as well. Anything with Sami Zayn being there is immediately better because it's Sami Zayn, who should have been on the card here somewhere. Let me just add that in, that one little complaint in. Why the hell was Sami Zayn nowhere near the card? That sucks. More Sami Zayn, please. And also, do not turn him heel. Do not turn him heel on Jay with this.
Might
Don't.
happen. Might happen.
Don't.
Might
No,
happen.
no. Triple H, don't you dare. No. I will not boo Sami Zayn. You turn him heel, I will still pretend he's a babyface. I will just... He could literally do all of the worst heel things ever. I will still back that man. But yeah, it's just... I can't... The Jay Gunter match, I was so frustrated and annoyed by the ending. I struggled to enjoy anything else around it for a little while. And that's not because I dislike Jay. It's because I think Gunter is so great. It frustrates the hell out of me when he's put in this position to look like an idiot, essentially.
Yeah. I got a couple of things to add before I pass it to Mal. First thing I've got to add, Gunther versus Goldberg with special guest referee Bret Hart.
So it's got to end in 1 minute when Bret Hart beats up Goldberg for real.
Just have multiple men just like telling Goldberg. And then my other one was actually serious, which was in that match, wasn't there a submission spot where Gunther had one locked in on Jay? And that lasted for like 20-30 seconds. And
I think they mentioned that, where it was a sleeper hold as well. It was the exact same submission move. And he held it in for way longer, and Jay was able to like power out of it. And Gunter just like it's not even like if they wanted him to submit him, fine. Have him pass out. Like actually make it so that he, like it wasn't even like it was Gunter tried to struggle out of it and then tap. He just tapped essentially immediately. And like it's not even seconds. Like it's like you go, oh, Jay's done his big moves before that as well, but none of them target anything up. Like there's like one super kick and like some frog splashes that don't like that's not targeting up there.
Yeah.
It's not like he's done something where it's like if he's like super kicked the hell out of him like 20 times, which is his blooming specialty, like just bring like pretend it's your brother and then do all the super kicks, like do some dramatic talking and then choke him out. Fine, but like it was it's just the logic of it doesn't track fully in a way that like I think especially just because it's Gunter around this as well, the logic of the moves with Gunter has always been a big part of what he does. So when that same logic isn't applied to the people doing moves against him, it kind of sticks out as sucking a bit more.
Very much so. It's not the kind of wrestler that's meant to just like lie down and take a fucking submission as easy to against someone who's literally just kicks and jumps on someone. It's not. Yes, I mean, I like Jay's. I'm happy Jay got his moment, but there's lots of just ring psychology things in that just made a little no sense. Mao. How long do you think this Jey Uso reign will go on for, and what do you think's next for him? Like,
I was generally hoping that this would last until Monday Night Raw, where he just lost it to Seth, because that would be funny. But I don't know. I can see them maybe doing what they did with Kofi and just giving him sort of middling sort of opponents and then lose it to someone. Hopefully not Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I was about to say, no, please no Brock Lesnar. We don't need Brock Lesnar.
Who knows? Maybe Goldberg. You can maybe come back and kill him. On the match, it is just an ending that made just like it's kind of what I was saying with Gunther's character becoming mortal. This is kind of always the killing of Gunther's original character, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like he has basically just become the normal man who will tap out into a very kind of weak-looking submission hold that he does himself. No struggle, no anything. It is the sort of going into a feud with a commentator. my immediate first thought was, is this going to be Taz? I hope it's not going to be Taz. Where he went to defeat Jerry Lawler and then got stuck in doing nothing for ages and, battering people with bins. Yeah, the match, I guess, was fine, as you say. It was as good a match as Jey Uso can do, I think. And then the finish just would have just killed even a really good match, really. Like, it was just such another flat finish, I would say. Despite the Yeet Man winning, it just felt a bit rushed. Like, it felt like there should have been a struggle, and there was no struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, yeet. So easy.
Yeah, I'm sure the counters are loving that. Also, thanks for making me realize I'd rather just watched Taz for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So there is that. Even in 2025, I'd rather watch Taz.
Taz versus Gunther, that'd be great. Just Taz throwing
yeah.
Gunther around with loads of suplexes.
Yeah, you just jump on his back, Yeah, hell yeah. All right, so because I predicted Jay would win and the others didn't, this is how our scores are looking. I've now gained 5 points on both of them. And yeah, there's nothing much more to say about that other than they both suck. All right, the next match is Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair, which was the co-main event of night one. Sorry, Trish Stratton. Which was longer than the Jay Gunther match in 19 minutes. And it resulted in Tiffy retaining her WWE Women's title against Charlotte. Mao, what was your thoughts on this match?
Thank God Tiffy won, I would say.
Yeah.
Although I predicted
You did
Charlotte
predict
to win.
Charlotte to win.
That was very much my cynical heart predicting that. That was my cynical head predicting that. But yeah, I think it was another decent enough match. Probably would have been. I think if Charlotte Flair won, I think would have been considered in the same level as the Jey Uso Gunther match. Really, I'd say. But like the actual stuff before the ending was good, and the ending was, from my memory, I can't remember much about it really, but I think it was well executed. There were some like small bits in the middle I remember being a bit in terms of like you could tell Tiffy was a bit sort of I don't know whether it was Charlotte just being a bit sort of trying to not rough her up as much, but trying to like sort of give her a bit of a nudge that who's the big dog. But let's see sort of some small botchy bits, but it was alright, I would say. Perfectly serviceable.
Yeah, I mean that's probably a very good summary. What was your thoughts on it, Michael?
I mean, the first main feeling that comes from it is just relief because I just did not want to be going into another Charlotte Flair title reign doing the same thing again, because it just would have been the same title reign we've had, like, I want to say 14 times already. Not really, because half of those were like 20 minutes long and she basically stat padded that number up massively. Like, genuinely, you look through that, there's quite a few title reigns under a week. Like, it's not an insignificant number of her title reigns. But even the ones that have lasted longer just get repetitive. And it's just, this felt like a match that they kind of got stuck doing in the end, where you kind of knew it wasn't going to be the best match of either of their careers, just because to have the best wrestling matches, you need at least some level of cooperation between the two people. And it definitely didn't feel like there was a huge amount of that between them. It very much felt like each of them were in there to do the best for themselves, but didn't really care that much about how well the other person came looking out of it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, one of them sandbagged the other at all. I don't know enough about how wrestling, all the minutiae of wrestling to try and make that claim. But it did look like there are a few points where it's like, this feels like one of them's not helping the other. Like, one of them's not really cooperating in the way they should. Not in a, like, fully trying to throw the match way, but in a, like, I don't care that much about how the other person looks way. And it feels like this is just something that, yeah, this has happened. It didn't work really well. Move on from it, essentially. I think there needs to be a bit of a figuring out of what they're actually doing with Charlotte in a way that becomes interesting, and that's not trying to turn her babyface. I think they figured out now that's not happening. But I think there's obviously Charlotte is obviously a very, very good professional wrestler. There's no doubt about that at all. It's just figuring out where she fits in within WWE as it is now, and what she can do to perhaps evolve her character and something people are a bit more interested in. But equally, I think it's also important to say that any sort of complaints about Charlotte and her as, as a character or as a wrestler are, that's all they are. It's about how she is, her the character Charlotte Flair, not her as an actual person, because holy hell, it seems like she's had to deal with a hell of a lot, and people are not helping in that regard. And I feel like this is one of those situations where I think people need to remember that these wrestlers are people outside of their characters, and there can be complaints about the characters and potentially complaints about how they've done in their matches and how well their matches have come out in certain ways. But at the end of the day, these are still people behind these characters. And I hope there is a way in which Charlotte can find that character that connects with the audience in the way that they want it to, and that she can find something that gets people invested in her as a wrestler. Because like I said, she is a damn good wrestler. But it's just, it feels like it's a bit of a vicious cycle at the moment of one thing's not quite going right for her. So people chuck more stuff on her about her personal life, and it's just like I said, a vicious cycle that kind of needs to find its end. I think the best way to do that is for people to stop being dickheads. Let's be honest, like that's the actual way to stop it. But I think there is also an element of hopefully she can, her and all the people that WWE can find that way that get people wanting Charlotte Flair to be there and be in those matches, because when she is in the matches and like she is fully invested in it and people are invested in what's going on, she puts on some of the best matches that WWE has seen. Like you just look at, her match with Rhea a few years back. Like people still talk about it to this day as being, one of the top matches. So it's a relief that Tiffany is still champion, because I still think there is more they can do with her. I think I've said before that I wouldn't be against her losing the title pretty quickly, because I think that she doesn't need the title to be, she's another one who's incredibly talented where she can do stuff without the title. And I think it's just, hopefully that there is more stuff for the women to do outside of just being the world champion, so that, a lot of these people who have these opportunities to keep doing stuff, because it does feel like it is a bit, frustrating that essentially for women at the moment, it's be in the title picture or be in catering. And then, there's far too many talented people for those spots. There's too many women to fill spots where you're just limiting them to those few opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. It's very much a case of, I mean, I'm glad Teffy won, but come on, I don't really like her as a face, so I just really hope during this reign that they do tease with the fact that they could turn a heel, because I just think she's so much better as a heel. So
I don't think she needs some like big dramatic heel turn. It just sort of needs to essentially evolve back to where it was, because she sort of didn't really have a big baby face turn. She sort of just slowly, like sort of quietly switched to babyface because she needed to be the babyface opposite Charlotte Flair. And they can sort of just, I think, you could very easily quietly push her back to being a heel by putting her up against a babyface.
So I think that will. I think that's the best way of doing it. Is just not like, she doesn't have to like attack someone, or she'll just slowly get nastier for words, and it will naturally do that. And I think that's best for that title, because she's obviously great in ring, but her promos as a face aren't very good. So it's just kind of like getting back to what she was good and why she became champion, I think is what they should do. But obviously I think the reason they have her as face right now is because they expected Charlotte to be face coming into this feud, and that kind of backfired for them, because they expected everyone to go, oh yeah, Charlotte, we love you, but it very much was not that.
She's very much
at least they pivoted.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah,
at least
yeah,
they
yeah.
had the awareness to do that, because I said it when they did the Rhea Charlotte one a few years back. They tried to do it with Rhea as the heel and Charlotte as the babyface, and they never really committed to switching that back until like the match itself. They kind of both naturally, wrestled with Rhea as the babyface, and I think at least this time they, like I said, they had the awareness to do that before the match.
indeed. All right, so me and Michael both said Tiffany Stratton would win, whereas Mal said Charlotte Flair would win. So what that does to the points is me and Michael get 5 points and Mal gets 0.
Not having a match.
Starting to be a little bit of a trend here. All right, now so we now move on to the triple threat on night 2, the opener, which was Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley for the WWE Women's World Title, and we all said Io would win, and we all were correct. In what I don't think many people will disagree with me in saying best match over the 2 nights,
Yep.
which was incredible. So yeah, Michael, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said this last week or whenever we recorded it. It was I said that the build to it was messy, but it was worth it to get to this
Yeah.
match, because you knew sticking those 3 people in a ring together, it was going to be great, because we've seen Io versus Rhea a bunch of times. We've seen Io and Bianca go. I think we've had Rhea Bianca directly since NXT, but even back then, those two, it's like those two are a match people have wanted to see. Like, I was a little like, I will admit there was a little bit of disappointment that they were pulling the trigger on it now in a triple threat. Part of me kind of wanted them to save that big Rhea versus Bianca match 1-on-1, because that to me is like, that's the main event of WrestleMania right there, those two. But I think EO's shown that those 3 could have been the main event of WrestleMania in there.
Easily.
Like, it's a, I said it was 3 wrestlers who are good with each other. Putting all 3 together, still brilliant. It's still that great mix. If you've got the power of Rhea and Bianca, you've got the speed of Io. Like, you've got that mix of styles that actually merges well together. And the 3 of them were always going to put on an absolutely incredible match. And yeah, I'm glad Io won. I think it's I would have been a bit miffed had she had a title reign that was like a month. I think you can have her as champion, and she's just going to keep all I'm going to say is keep letting her have matches with people. Don't do the whole title reign where she only wrestles every few months. Io is best when you let her wrestle, because she's very, very, very good at it. Keep letting her have lots of matches with lots of different people, because you will just get lots of good matches out of her. And this also puts it in a situation where I think it gives more storytelling opportunities for Bianca and Rhea going forwards, and you can keep having those 2 in world title pictures. It was the right call to make for the night. It was the right call to make for what the story had been up to that point. It's the right call to make for what it allows them to do going forwards. I think this was just, out of all the matches, this was the best one, not just in terms of the in-ring quality, but in terms of what the match meant for the story up to that point, and where it actually, it's the best mix of capping off that bit of the story that they've had, whilst also allowing more stuff going forwards.
Yeah, very much so. Mal, do you think that it seems like Io and Rhea is probably going to be the direction over the next month or so? Do you think that's the right direction? And if not, who do you think will go against Io and maybe beat her, even though no one should, because she's incredible?
Yeah, I think you could arguably make a case for all of these going against each other again after this. Like they all looked, all top wrestlers basically, just because they all got a chance to shine, and the match was just fantastic. Basically, I do generally think this is maybe the best major opener. It's got to be up there, surely,
God,
just
yeah.
because it's like the only one I could think of is maybe the Bret Owen cage match at WrestleMania 10. But like in terms of like in-ring action, this is like perfect, really. Yeah, just like everyone got a chance to show themselves. Like it wasn't even like the sort of the triple threat thing where where one person sort of just has a snap on the outside. They were all kind of involved quite frequently with each other. There wasn't like sort of like extended bits where there were two sort of one-on-one bits. I would say, and yeah, I do like those triple threat matches where there's actually three people in them rather than just one-on-one, one-on-one, one-on-one for a long stretch of it. And yeah, I I was surprised it was only 15 minutes.
It was, yeah.
We that could have lasted twice the time and
Yeah.
it would have been still amazing, to be honest. In fact, I'd have this again. Just do another one, and just make it the actual main event, and just have it go for the same length as the other triple threat, and I think we'd all be happy with that, to be honest.
Yeah, every month, sure. I'll happily watch
Yep.
every month.
2 hour long Iron Woman match, please.
Yeah, I mean, what's the NXT stipulation?
The championship scramble thing.
Iron Survivor.
Oh, the Iron Survivor. That's it.
Those three, and then put a couple more in. Oh, imagine Iron Survivor on the main roster. Oh, that'd be amazing. Also, thank you for explaining to us how freeway matches work. Because yes, it's very much where free wrestlers wrestle. Yes, thank you.
You sort of getting me though. There are the general sort of triple threat match, just because it's the way they just. I think it's the way it works.
Yeah.
Didn't it's like to give people rest? Is that he's 1v1 for a bit, then someone else comes in, does a big move. One person dies for like 5 minutes, and they have 1v1. Whereas this didn't have that, which is quite a rarity, I'd say.
Yeah. Also, I in my brain when you said, "Oh, is this the best opener of a WrestleMania?" I went back. I was like, was this match an opener? And my brain obviously went to Brock Lesnar versus Omos, which was an opener of night 2 of 39.
I'm just going to point out, I maintain to this day, and not even because of how Brock Lesnar's an absolute wrong un, but Omos should have won that match.
Yeah.
Like Brock winning that match did nothing for Brock. They should have just given that to Omos.
Yeah, it. I think that probably killed his character. Whereas if he had the win against Brock, that would have been huge for Omos.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Omos is cool and not a bad human being, so that works in his favour as well.
He just likes to smell good, and there's nothing wrong with that. All right, so because we all predicted this would win, the points are also not that special. We all got 5 points. Yeah, there's not much more to say about that. A nice 50,005 from Mal. All right. We then go on to the. It was a night 1 match. For the US title, it was Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight, and I don't know if we need to speak much about this because it was very predictable, and the very predictable thing happened, which was Jacob Fatu is your new United States champion, which was easily the correct decision. We all predicted that. It's what happened. Briefly, Mal, incredible match, right?
Yeah, that's good. I think this is really much where Night 1 actually started to pick up a bit. Yeah. Definitely. Like after sort of 3, I think it was 3 sort of the Blair matches. We'll get onto the other 2 in a bit. But this actually felt like an actual title match, and the correct person won. LA had a decent showing though, I'd say. Against someone as the building up as big, powerful man, Jacob Fatu. So yeah, pretty good. Can't really complain.
Anything to add there, Michael?
Yeah, I think basically the match went as expected. There was no big surprise with it. The one thing I just thought I'd quickly look up, because the little thing I'm thinking that potentially could happen from this is that obviously the US title's always felt like the sort of tertiary title, like even below the IC title. And I thought, giving it to Jacob Fatu, potentially it's giving you this monster who's going to be really difficult to beat. You can go on this long title reign. I just thought I'd look up what the longest WWE title reign actually is already to think, could Jacob Fatu beat that? So with the official like WWE US title, it was a certain Mr. Dean Ambrose, wherever he's ended up, holds the record still at 351 days. For the US title in general, it's Lex Luger, 523, but that was like the WCW US title. But like the WWE record is held by Dean Ambrose. One I'm surprised that they haven't tried to, overwrite already out of spite.
Yeah.
This could be where that happens. Like, I would not be shocked to see Jacob Fatu just hold this belt till next year's WrestleMania. Like, he is like, I wouldn't expect them to do long US title reigns because it's the US title. I said it's the, it's like their tertiary title essentially that can get hot potatoed around a bit more. But if they were looking to put the belt on someone for a year, Jacob Fatu is like near the top of the list of people who do that because like he doesn't lose. Like he's not been pinned.
No, I don't think so.
Has he since he's come to WWE? Like, I know he's like obviously he's been like eliminated from the Royal Rumble. I think he's like lost by DQ. I think that's it really. He's been like they've protected him a lot, so him losing that belt will be a big deal. And it feels like one they will hold off on for a long time. Yeah. So yeah, that is the only thing I'd really add is that I would not be shocked if Jacob Fatu breaks that record, at least the WWE version of that record.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what Dean Ambrose is doing right now, and I wonder if it's good wrestling things that isn't pissing everybody off. I wonder what he's doing. Maybe I wonder if he is just keeping a title hostage and holding on for it for too long. I wonder. So yeah, we'll quickly go to the points where we all got 5 points here. Because we all were right. Yeah, that's enough to say. It was a good match. I mean, LA Knight's great. I hope he goes on to a main title at some point or is just very good for a while. But yeah, next match is the Intercontinental title 4-way, which was between. So this was a night 2 match. Yeah, it was between Bron Breakker, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Penta, and it was also 10 minutes long, and Dominic Mysterio is now your new Intercontinental title champion, and we very much were all right.
Yay.
Yeah. Michael, thoughts on that match?
Yeah, I mean, we've got to the weird situation now where it seems like they might be forced to turn Dominic face because him winning was very, very over. And I will say, a part of me is actually a bit disappointed by that because I was really hoping that we were going to get like a really like slimy cheating to win title reign from Dominic. I was hoping he'd do like the whole doing literally anything to keep hold of that title, sort of reign. That would have been fun. I don't think they can do that now because people like Dominic too much. And it feels like they're going to sort of keep dragging out this Judgment Day split even longer, which is, the one annoying part of this where I kind of wish that ending had led to Dominic and Finn sort of turning on each other properly, because this whole thing is just getting dragged out even more now. But it feels like they're going to be forced into a situation where Dominic's going to have to be like turn face in this, with Finn Balor turning heel. And it feels like it's great that Dominic is so over as a face, but it feels like it's going to complicate things, because what do you do with other parts of the Judgment Day that now kind of would have aligned one way in the split? Do they like flip another way? Like, I just don't see that. Like, the Liv Morgan babyface turn is not one that I'm expecting to see anytime soon.
No.
So is that going to almost force it to just be Dom splitting from the rest of them or something like that? But no, I think it's still the right call to put the title on him. I think it's a good problem to have for him to be almost too over. Previous regime, he would have got in trouble for that. They would have gone, no, you weren't supposed to do that. People aren't supposed to like you. We're going to, we're going to bury you now. No one's ever going to see you again. So it's a good problem to have,
Yeah.
and I think Dominic is. I'm also glad to see Dominic having a match at WrestleMania that wasn't with his dad. So
Yeah.
because it's been a lot of you just wrestle your dad again. It's good to see him doing something else.
For sure, yeah. Anything else to add, Mal?
Yeah. So the actual match, great stuff. I think. Again, just kind of in the same way as the women's three-way, no one looked particularly weak, I'd say. It is a bit, as Michael said, there wasn't really any ending to the Judgment Day storyline, so they'll inevitably do some more stuff with that. I mean, they could always, if they want to do a light sheet steal with someone as a face, there is always Dominic's dad, Eddie Guerrero. They could emulate and have him come out in a big lowrider or something. I don't know. Again, good match. Another good multi-man on this card that didn't really outstay its welcome, I'd say.
For a second, I thought you were advocating for them to somehow bring Eddie Guerrero back from the dead, and I was very confused. I was like, "What? How are they gonna do that?" But no, you meant him, which he's kind of been trying to be Eddie for a while.
Yeah.
So, but there's not much more to say apart from the fact that I was correct about Dom slowly becoming face because he's slowly becoming over, which I'm pretty sure I said. I was like, I'm pretty sure they're going to slowly make him face because he's getting over, which is it.
Yeah.
If like a year ago, if we said that Dom was getting over and people were cheering for him, we'd be like, what? No, surely not. It's Dom. He's dirtbag trash. No, he's very much over, and has been doing really good.
You could very much tell by that sort of little bit they had at the end where Dom sort of rushed down back to the ring to do the whole celebration. He did he was that was either just a spur of the moment thing in his part just to go fuck it, fuck it. I might as well just go on. Might as well just go full on in the babyface thing. All day he was told just run down to the ring. You're now a good guy. Soak in the cheers because this has been his first proper sort of first time he's really ever had to do that, I'd say.
Yeah. Sure.
When he's not been with his dad.
Yeah. First singles title for him. Probably first in many, to be honest, because he's really good. Right, so let's see what that does to our scores, which isn't much because we all said it was gonna be a Dom win, and we're all right. Yay! Alright, so we now go on to the tag team match that definitely should have been on the card. Which was the War Raiders versus the New Day, and the New Day won that. It was a match that happened. I don't know if we really need to talk about it that much, but the one person that got it wrong was Mal. Do you want to explain the match and explain why the War Raiders lost?
What happened in this match, to be honest, outside of Ivar doing a big moonsault?
Yeah.
I was kind of banking on Big E showing up and maybe distracting them to do this, but there was no Big E.
Nope.
It was just they won the titles and ran back up the ramp. Won the titles in a bit of a heelish fashion, ran back up the ramp, and it could have just been on TV, honestly. And I mean, Michael's already said it. Mike, you had a TLC SmackDown tag match you could have put on instead. But it was a match that happened. One of the matches of all time.
Also, you got their names wrong. It's Pekka and the Barbarian King.
Oh god, yeah.
Because of the wonderful Clash of Clans branding.
The advertising in general was all over this one, wasn't it? As they are most pay-per-views nowadays.
Yeah, so I'll now let Michael let out whatever he wants to about the fact that SmackDown tag titles aren't on here, because you can very much say what you want.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's just kind of frustrating because they obviously put this match on there because it's easy to have the New Day in a match at WrestleMania because people know who they are, and you can stick an advertising thing on it because it's normally it would be the New Day being the guys advertising, except this time we'll flip it so it's not the New Day. That's a big
Whoa.
interesting development for the match. It's more interesting than the actual match itself. And then when it gets to the end of the match, the crowd goes mild, and I don't think people realized the match had ended. Like it was. Yeah, it was just no one was invested in it. No one really cared about the match at all. It was like there's no real interest in what happens next because there's like two other tag teams on Raw at the moment. Whereas SmackDown, like I said, it's people are actually invested in that. People, we could have had, obviously the Street Profits as champions at WrestleMania. The Street Profits,
Yeah.
blooming good. We could have had Motor City Machine Guns at WrestleMania for the first time. That's a big, thing to chuck in there as well. You got DIY, who people actually occasionally give a crap about. You've got. They want to have a name on there. The Miz is technically in a stupid tag team at the moment that. Yeah, I guess it gets the Miz on at least they didn't try to shoehorn the Miz in as host and then have matches with blooming Shane McMahon again. Like
Snoop Dogg.
bring back Snoop Dogg. The WWE Hall of Famer Snoop Dogg who once wore a Norwich shirt. Like
Oh yeah, that was the thing.
His two main things that he is known for is WWE Hall of Famer, wore a Norwich shirt one time. Like, yes, he's worn basically every football shirt known to man. But doesn't matter because he wore it like the day before we were in the playoff final in 2015 and we won. So, and it's still one of my mate's background pictures on his phone. I'm not joking. It's still Snoop Dogg in a Norwich shirt.
I've now got a horrific visual. Well, it's probably not horrific. Of why would it actually be realistic for Jey Uso to be walked out by Snoop Dogg at one point? I don't know why I can see that happening.
Sure, why not?
Imagine
tag team. What are you on about?
Imagine Snoop Dogg going yeet.
Yeah, that's like they both do the frog splash as well. That's a great tag team right there.
The double frog splash. Would they be facing Cena and Travis Scott?
Yes, make it a freeway.
A triple threat.
Yeah.
Whereas if you want to do a double frog splash, you're going to have to get Jey Uso to jump like the whole width of a ring because you're going to have to put like whoever's getting splashed on like right next to Snoop Dogg because he literally does. He basically just goes like that. It's just straight down.
Not much vertical.
Not much horizontal either. It's literally just falling off the rope essentially.
Yeah. All right. So after that, and me and Michael getting it right again. Here is how points be another 505. Yes. Okay, now to another tag match which happened. This is the women's tag match. It was between the Judgment Day, which was Liv and Raquel versus Lyra Valkyria and mystery person. Who was the mystery person that they screwed Bailey out of her Mania spot for no reason? Becky Lynch. And they won, which yes, is a thing that happened, and I didn't forget about it. Michael, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it feels weird. They're saying this is the thing they were like holding off on Becky Lynch coming back for the right creative, and this is the route they went.
Yeah,
screwing over Bailey, turning Becky heel again, just so that she can have a feud with Lyra Valkyria, who obviously those two can wrestle each other. Like we've seen it before. Becky obviously likes to try and get Lyra Valkyria over, which is great because Lyra's bloody brilliant. Big up the Bird Lady.
Yes.
But it's just the way I sort of feel I can describe it is Becky almost feels a bit like reverse Charlotte, where Becky as a heel has never really worked. They keep trying it, and it never fully sticks in the same way as her as a babyface does. Like, Becky wants to be a heel. She keeps saying it that she likes playing heel, but she's just not as good of a heel as a babyface. And it feels like, to like hold off on bringing Becky back for this is a bit of a letdown, because it also screws over Bailey, who, for as much as it feels like, yeah, they can't quite figure out what they're doing with her, like, doing basically nothing might have been better than this. Like, getting people's hopes up of, oh yeah, they're actually going to do something with Bailey now. Oh wait, no, they're not. She just buggers off. And like the moment like there was a whole backstage attack thing happened on night one, I'm like, oh, this is how they get Becky back. Like, it was so, like, it wasn't a big surprise thing. It was so wildly obvious what they were doing. Like, no one was shocked when Becky came out. Like, I think when I was watching it, I literally started like humming her song before she even came out. I'm like, this is what's about to happen. It's, yeah, they went to go for that big surprise that just didn't stick because it wasn't a surprise. Yeah, you can't do, like, there's doing the obvious thing because it makes sense, and there's making something obvious because of, you know, lazy story writing. And this was very much in the second half of that, and has led into something that I don't think there's really much appetite for another Becky Lynch heel run.
Yeah, it very much was a thing that happened, and then the heel run, which may or may not be related to someone's bonus question, also happened on the Raw after Mania.
Yeah.
Mao, anything else to add on the situation, maybe about why the fuck they screwed over Bailey so much?
She was probably the most expendable one out of the ones they could do. I guess. I kind of was. I think they probably, as I said, gone aim for Becky and Valkyrie because, well, they like each other. And yeah,
Irish.
Bailey's, yeah, and Bailey's just probably in the wrong place at the wrong time for that, really. I do think if we'd known in advance who would have been a backstage cat mystery partner, we all would have thought it was Becky Lynch and so predicted it. But we didn't, sadly. Yeah, the match was indeed a match that happened. It was just kind of completely wiped out by what happened on the Raw the next night. And resulted in it was certainly a title reign of all time. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's certainly was.
Yeah, I don't know. It does seem like a waste. Like, it does seem like they're just we need Becky's made herself available. Let's stick her in this as a thing. Although I have heard this was somewhat planned, which makes it even weirder, to be honest. Like, why not do something with Valkyria where, I don't know, she just wins it by herself, the shot, and then Becky can come back and be the all conquering hero, like Doodle and Steve Austin. Yeah, it is indeed a thing. The women's tag titles are in exactly the same position as they were before this. Nothing's going to happen to them. They're just going to float around as they've always has done. No improvements. And the thrown together tag team couldn't coexist. What a shocker!
I did say that phrase a lot with in regards to Lyra and Bailey, but it very much works better with Lyra and Becky, and they couldn't coexist. But yeah, I think
my brain went there to the whole, like, Lyra winning the title, winning the shot by herself, and I'm like, and then she gets Nicholas back.
Yes,
and we do Nicholas again.
Oh yeah. No, all I have to say is that quoting a certain Karrion Kross is that Bailey is trying to be a good soldier, which isn't paying off, unfortunately. I hope they sort that out, but I don't know if they will. Alright, so that doesn't really do much to our points, where, as you can see, we all got it wrong, so we got 0. Now on to a match that we're all excited about. It's AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Yeah, it happened. It was 17 minutes long. And Logan Paul won, which meant that Michael got it right, whereas me and Mao didn't get it right because it's a 50-50 shot. That's how it works. Michael, are you really pleased at yourself for predicting that Logan would win?
I got points. Yay! I don't care. The match happened. Karrion Kross is bloody brilliant.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
like he was the only interesting part of that entire thing,
Yes.
and then him immediately after WrestleMania is more interesting in like 2 minutes than Logan Paul has been ever.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's saying like when he's more interesting in 2 minutes than AJ Styles is at the moment. That man is like sold a match better than either of the guys actually in the match.
He sure did.
Like he sold the match better than the WWE themselves did. Like if you can't see how good he can be from this and how much people are on board with what he is saying and what he is doing, you are blind.
Mm-hmm.
Push the hell out of that man. Not even necessarily in a way where he was in NXT where he was the like unstoppable monster. You just have to like if you're trying to figure out who can like be creative with Karrion Kross, it's Karrion bloody Kross.
Yeah.
Ask him what he thinks works and work with him on that because he's shown more emotion and passion in one promo than most wrestlers will have in their entire damn career. Just give him the ball and let him run with it, please. And yes, I got points. I would happily throw those points in the bin if it meant we get more Karrion Kross going forwards.
Yeah. This whole situation, and side note, if you haven't seen the promo Karrion Kross did after Mania with the whole that's from Killer Kross, do it. Like immediately do it. Do it. Sorry. Yeah, immediately, yes. Go watch it. It's incredible. I am so happy as someone for a very long time who's been a massive Karrion Kross fan and felt like he's been wrongly disliked. Like people thought he was boring, he was crap, he was not shouldn't be in WWE, they should release him. For so long he's just kind of been there, and I've always been like, he's incredible, he needs an opportunity. He didn't get the opportunity, so he made the opportunity himself. You know, he's done a couple indie dates and has been incredible in those. So he's finally get himself back over because, like, I mean, it's a cliche me being like, oh yes, I loved his NXT run because his NXT run was good, but what he did, like, he was SmackDown a couple years ago, was really good. Like when he came back, was getting involved with stories and changing people's gimmicks by just talking to them. That was cinema, but no one else saw it. But now people are finally seeing why Karrion Kross is so good, and I'm here for it. I just want him to get pushed as far as possible because Karrion Kross is incredible. Yeah. Anything else to add? To my rant there?
Yeah. The only good thing about this match is Karrion Kross is might be involved in something. The match wasn't indeed a match. Logan Paul did indeed win. Hopefully he just disappears off forever and we never see him again. But he'll come back.
Yeah, he will.
He'll come back. He always comes back.
Yeah,
like some sort of suicide filming Terminator.
well, like,
I thought you were making a FNAF reference for a second there, and I'm like, wait, I'm supposed to be the FNAF guy here.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Off. Alright, yeah, so because of that, it makes it a little bit more interesting with the points. Because Michael got 5 points and no one else did, so we'll soon see what that does to our points. Alright, now we'll move on quickly to Jade Cargill versus Naomi, which also was a match that happened. Jade won, as expected, as we all said. It was a match that happened, which is, I'm saying that a lot. Mal, explain.
Better than I expected, I would say. They gave him time, like they did surprisingly well. I mean, like Jake Cargill, as I think Michael said, when it's a certain thing, his 2 words were Jake Cargill for why his match would be short. But yeah, I don't know. This was again serviceable, but unexpectedly so, I would say.
Yeah. Michael, anything to add? Do you still agree with your statement that it's Jade Cargill, or were you changed?
I mean, not really on the Jade Cargill front. I think this is, you have to give
Hmm.
props to Naomi on this. There's quite a
Yeah.
few points in this where I'm like, Naomi is doing a brilliant job of making Jade look good. There's certain parts of it where like Jade tries to go for a move, she doesn't fully have it, but Naomi does what she can to make sure that Jade can do her stuff properly. This was almost the antithesis of the Charlotte Tiffany match, where it was two people where they didn't quite, you kind of tell they weren't fully on board with trying to help get the other one over in any way.
Yeah.
Whereas this was Naomi going, right, this, my job is to make Jade look like an absolute star here. And in doing so, she's made herself look better as well. She's, the whole character change with her is the most interesting she's been in a long while. And it's,
Yeah.
hopefully it starts giving her an opportunity to start showing what she is capable of. And I think there's a lot more people beyond. There's a very vocal group of people who already were supporting her and have the entire time. And this is getting into a point where these people are going to start getting more and more evidence to go, look, see, we were right. So yeah, and I think this was very much a big part of that. Was, I think I said Naomi didn't need to win this match to be able to keep moving stuff forward, but she's lost it in a way where she's shown, how valuable she is to, wrestling in general, but also how she can not only do stuff to make herself look good, but make other people look good as well, without it being, her getting ragdolled all over the place, looking like she can't, like she's just getting beaten the hell out of, in a way where it makes it like she can wrestle, but also the person she's wrestling against can wrestle as well. And yeah, it just made Jade look better. It made her look good as well. I think this was the match that it needed to be. This is, it was great having a women's match on the card that wasn't for a title. That doesn't happen usually, if ever. And this has done the job it needed to do to make the two people involved, look better going forward. It's, the saying of one goes over, one gets over. And it feels like to me this was what this, was able to achieve that.
Definitely. Yeah, so it's the is this like the first non-title women's match to ever be on a WrestleMania card?
Yeah, I
Like, no, it was outside. It was this and the Playboy Bunny pillow fight from
yeah,
Mania 26 or whatever it was.
it was the
I think it's, if you only include the main card as well, because there was the big, like, what was originally, I think it was supposed to be like Brie Bella's retirement match or whatever it was, like the big, like, giant tag team match a while back, but that was on the pre-show.
Okay.
And then there was like the mixed tag with Ronda and Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
But that's like when you're having to stretch to those, that tells you, the state that women's wrestling has been in.
I think the stat was it's the first ever non-title match since 2005, women's non-title match on Mania, and the first ever singles women's match without a stipulation and no title. I think that's the stat that I remember. It might be slightly wrong, but it's something similar to that.
That sounds about right to me.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have done any other women's matches in the time Mania's been around.
Not like that. Yeah. It is a good sign that they are willing just to whack a women's match on there for just for sort of storytelling, but also it's not this big stipulation fest. It's actually just a normal singles match, which it's fine.
Yeah.
We got that right. So looking at the points, we all got 5 points. So not much else to say there apart from we did it good. And now we're on to a match that technically never happened because it was changed. Which was, it was originally meant to be Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano, but Rey Mysterio got injured. What was the injury again?
It happened on. I can't remember the injury.
It happened on SmackDown. It happened on SmackDown in like a 6-man tag. Yeah.
Yeah.
He tore something, I think, or I don't remember what he did, but he injured himself in a match that probably shouldn't have happened. Because why are we risking someone like Rey the night, like the day before Mania? I will never know. But they then changed it to Rey Fenix, which, I mean, probably put it to Dragon Lee, because why would you get Rey Fenix to lose? Which, spoiler alert, El Grande Americano did win, which I predicted, and the other said Rey Mysterio, which, I mean,
Technically, you didn't predict the match correctly because it wasn't that match.
I
Like
mean,
you didn't.
no,
You predicted him to beat
no,
Ray
we're not.
Mysterio, not Ray Phoenix. It's not the same
No,
match. Therefore,
we're not taking points away from me. And if
Null
Ray
and
Phoenix, if Ray Phoenix had won this, I would have given you half points anyway. So,
So you can only get half points then.
no, because I predicted El Grande Americano was going to win.
You predicted Rey Mysterio to lose.
Yes,
Rey
but
Mysterio did not lose.
the plan was always going to be El Grande Americano to win. So El Grande Americano won from the Gulf of Mexico.
That Rey Mysterio could have won.
No, he wouldn't have. Because why would they?
You can't prove it.
Why would they make Rey Phoenix lose, but then Rey Mysterio's gonna win? That makes no sense. So I was right. I'm getting
the Rey Mysterio, and they keep having to put him on the card all the time, and they keep wanting to make him look good, despite the fact he's about 72 years old.
Yeah.
And he's a deadbeat dad.
Does anyone have anything to add about how good the match was?
It was okay, I'd say. It was like it was good. I think there was good lucha things in the words of Cinco. What's it again? Kalisto. One of the other luchadors. Yes. It was good. It was good lucha things. Again, I'm also surprised to see Grande Americano win. And especially over a guy who they're gonna presumably want to do stuff with him signing from AEW. It does kind of make me think, are they just gonna put Penta and Phoenix back together and do Lucha's Brothers stuff? But yeah, it was fine. It did the job, and the coffee man won.
Yeah. Anything else to add, Michael?
Apart from you should only get half points for this.
No.
That didn't actually happen. I mean, yeah, it was. I said this before that I was a bit annoyed that Dragon Lee didn't get the match in the first place.
Yeah.
It feels like they've very much sort of like gone cold on Dragon Lee now because they've signed a bunch of other luchadors and they can only have like one, maybe two luchadors at a time, except for now we've bought an entire promotion of them to not know what the hell to do with them, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they know what the hell, but like they just like, we need the next Rey Mysterio, which is one guy, and at the moment that's still Rey Mysterio. But it's, because of that, they can't just, they've sort of decided that Dragon Lee isn't their guy at the moment. I know I'm not quite sure how old he is, but I think Dragon Lee's a bit younger than some of the other guys, isn't he? Like, let me just actually try and look this up quickly.
I think Mal's good.
Dragon Lee is 29.
Yeah.
So they're probably like, I think they're probably looking at him as like he'll be around for a while, but he's bloody good now. You don't have to have one luchador guy or two luchador guys and have to put them in a tag team. You can just have lots of and it would have made more sense storyline wise for Dragon Lee. Like, this thing at this point in storyline, why does Dragon Lee keep just putting up with Rey Mysterio not picking him for stuff?
Yeah,
like it was last year as well with the tag match last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
Where it was like, he originally, did he pick? Wasn't it going to be like Rey and was it Carlito originally? And then when Carlito buggered off or turned on him, he went to Andrade instead. He keeps not picking Dragon Lee for stuff. It's like, and why does Dragon Lee in storyline just keep putting up with being treated like he can't wrestle when he very clearly can? Like, they're just making Dragon Lee look a bit stupid when they really shouldn't, because he's really good.
Yeah.
It is a bit weird making one of their champions look stupid, especially when it's the most important title in WWE, of course.
What?
Speed.
Oh yeah, speed. Speed. But yeah, so it's a match that was very important, which meant that I got 5 points and no one else did.
2.5 points.
Gracias. All right. So we move on to the last match that we have on our sheet, which was Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. Which how long did that go on for? That was because that was the second match of night two, which I was a bit
Yeah.
surprised that it was match two, but that was just under 14 minutes, and yeah, we all were correct. Drew McIntyre won it. I think the storyline is going to go on further. Like I don't think that's it. I think there's going to be more. They'll probably like stretch it out, make it end in a cage. It was a good match. I enjoyed it.
Mm.
I'm a big Drew fan, so I enjoyed it. So yeah, I like Damian Priest a lot as well. So it was pretty good in my part. Though, I mean, I'll let you two go on to it more, but it wasn't much of a street fight. But yeah. So Mal, what's your thoughts on the Sin City street fight?
I think it was perfectly fine. I think it was there was less plunder stuff, and no one came out in street clothes unless their street clothes are their gear.
Yeah.
Which we don't know, they could be. I think there was a point where it ended up becoming a stairs match, which was quite funny. But yeah, it was again perfectly nice. Sort of like a bit of a cool down sort of thing from as much as a cool down match just as that can be from the opener. But yeah, it did the job. And yeah, well, I don't know. It didn't really end the storyline, but it was fine. The storyline will probably continue, but it does need a sort of like a proper ending at some point.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure it will do in its due time.
Hmm.
Anything else to add about this, Michael?
No, there's still, despite all the efforts of Drew and Damian, felt like it was the match that was just kind of there. Like they made the best of what they were given
Yeah.
constantly. Even on the night that December, like I said, sticking it second very clearly showed it was the extra match just to get those two on the card. I think the one other bit I want to note that I did see that was the interesting little thing that I saw about calling it like a Sin City street fight. It was, I've actually just pulled this up to double check it. It was Amanda Huber, the wife of the late great Brody Lee, pointing out that it's annoying calling something like an insert city name street fight, and then none of the match actually takes place on the street.
Yeah.
Like, send them out on the street to beat the crap out of each other if you can do that. Otherwise, just call it a hardcore match or whatever. But like, these two did great at being like two dudes just trying to beat the crap out of each other. But like, come on. I feel like that is something that they could have done to make it more interesting if they're going to call it like a street fight, and they keep calling Damien like the Street King or whatever it is. Literally, go do it out in the street somewhere. Like, I know that might mean they have to like pre-record it or whatever. Sod it, do that. It would be cool. It would just make it stand out a bit more than just being, two dudes having a no DQ match. And I think that was something that a little trick they potentially missed that could have just made it a bit, could have given them, these two a little nugget of, you got something unique about this. This wasn't just we're sticking two guys together for a match.
Yeah, there was nothing. I wouldn't say there's anything we would remember next year about this, and we go, "Oh, this happened." That was quite good. Like if it does kind of like it fell into the WWE hardcore match trap where they kind of don't do enough. That sort of just it distinguished them, so they all kind of become outside of certain spots become one big blob of a match. I would say.
Yeah.
At least with AEW, they do stupid spots. In WWE, they kind of just stick with chairs and tables and lots of stairs because we all love stairs.
Yes.
Speaking of, bring back the stairs match.
Yes, the stairs match. Yes, that was. They focused on stairs a lot, didn't they? At the start of the match. So yeah, I fully support that. And then just quickly, that was points wise. That was 5 points each because we all got that right. And then the other match we didn't mention was Randy Orton's Open Challenge, which was answered by Joe Hendry, which was, I don't think I think it was floated around. I think I floated it around to Mao. He shot it down. because
Yeah.
obviously, like, surely he's not big enough, and they did it. They pulled the trigger, and it was a 3 minute long match. But yeah, Joe Hendry. Anything to quickly add by anyone about that?
I think in a way it was almost kind of the opponent they needed, really, because they needed someone who could lose quickly to
Yeah.
Randy Orton. They probably didn't want to waste anyone. They wanted to return or give a big return to. They didn't want anyone to die, so it wasn't Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Joe Hendry, uh, he has a good entrance. Everyone's gonna say, "Yay, it's Joe Hendry." He has the song, and he can lose in 3 minutes, and it won't affect him because he still has the entrance.
Indeed.
It does kind of make TNA look a bit weird though.
It does,
your
yeah.
your champions come on and just lost in 3 minutes.
I don't think they'll care about that. The TNA Championship just showed up at Wrestlemania. It's the biggest wrestling event in the world, and they got the TNA World Champion front and
They
center.
sure did.
That's this is out of all the events that WWE do, WrestleMania is the one where the most like non-wrestling fans, like casual wrestling fans, will see it, and they'll all of a sudden see this guy show up from TNA wrestling, getting a huge reaction. People are going to go, maybe I should have a look at this Joe Hendry guy, and then they'll find TNA from that. It's basically a brilliant advertising opportunity for TNA that even a year ago you wouldn't have or especially 2 years ago would have been unthinkable happening that you could get TNA front and center like that. So I don't think they're going to care about him getting beat by Randy Orton at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
like that's still much bigger than their champion getting beat in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, I do always wonder how much these things actually result in extra ratings, etc. But I guess there's some metrics that allow them to keep doing it. Like I don't know, would the people want to just look up TNA afterwards? Would people do that much effort? I don't know, but
It's more likely they'd look up Joe Hendry, and from that they'd find TNA stuff.
Yeah, but I guess it is one of the things where if they get a few people to stick around, it was worth it. Any publicity is good publicity, even if it is losing in 3 minutes.
Okay, so after all that, here are our points before the second part of our predictions. As you can see, I'm currently in the lead with 50 points. Michael's currently second with 45 points. And then Mao is third with 30 points.
Languishing, let's just say
that. So it's all to play for coming into the second part with our bonus answers. Okay, now it's time to talk about the second part of our predictions, where, as you can see on screen, here is all of our predictions we did to each of the questions. The first to start off with is we predicted how many title changes there would have been over the 2 nights, and there were 6. There were 6. I said there'd be 5, and Val and Michael said it'd be 4. So what that does to the points is that means no one got any points because we were all wrong. Brilliant stuff. We'll go on to the longest match, where we have more to talk about here. The longest match was Punk versus Rollins versus Roman, which Mal predicted right, and me and Michael said it would be Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. So, Mal, any thoughts about getting that right?
I got something right. Let's go. Yeah, I think in my head it was a toss-up between those two. But it did end up the 3 good wrestlers having a long match compared to Rhodes and Cena. Cena, who that said he might not be able to go that long. Well, they did 25 minutes, to be fair to him, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Michael, are you surprised it wasn't Cody versus Cena, or do you feel like you got the prediction wrong?
I'm not wildly surprised. I think it was always going to be a toss-up between the main events. They like the long main events. I just think I think I was probably expecting a few more shenanigans in that main event, the main event, and I don't think I quite took into account the whole triple threat aspect of the other one. And I kind of predicted that we'd get, the whole segment for the first night's main event to be longer because Roman Reigns and his entrances, and then we got, that video package for Punk, which was incredible. But yeah, I think it was just expecting more of the second night's main event rather than there being more of the first nights than I expected.
Yeah, we very much expected it to be like crazy overbooked nonsense where it was just kind of, hey, Travis Scott's here, woo, and it wasn't much more than that. And that does to our points. It means that Mao got 3, so that's
Yay.
a success.
Comeback's on.
Yeah, the comeback is on, indeed. Now, shortest match, we were all unanimous that it'd be Jade versus Naomi, and we were wrong because the shortest match was Randy Orton versus Joe Hendry, which obviously we didn't know existed until Joe Hendry came out. So, but it makes a lot of sense that would be the shortest match because it didn't need to be any longer than that. So yeah,
yeah. In terms of match that we knew before, I think it was the I say we knew it. It would have been El Grande Americano v Ray Phoenix.
Yeah, that was slightly shorter.
Yeah.
So
that was like another 2 minutes shorter.
So we were just wrong, plain wrong.
Yay.
So that then means lots of progress with our scores. All got 0. And now on to one that someone got right, which was how many submission endings there were. Where I didn't think there would be a submission ending, which after the first match happened, I was already wrong. And then Michael said there'd be 1, and Mal said there'd be 2. And there was in fact 1 submission victory, which was Jey Uso tapping out Gunther. Any thoughts on predicting that correctly, Michael?
I'd have rather not got the points. I'm not happy about getting the points here. I'd rather there weren't any.
Yes.
Unless it was the other way around. Unless it was like 3 seconds in, Gunter taps out Jay. That would have been much better.
Would you like to forfeit your points?
Only if you forfeit your ones for the match that didn't happen.
Okay, so we'll look at the points then. Which 3 points to Michael. Yeah. So much more to say about that because I am not going to give up my points. Because I'd be losing 2 points. Now the surprise entrance part of our scoring, which spoiler alert, we were all wrong. Was there many that we could have done here? Like
I guess
Becky, Joe Hendry.
Yeah, true, those 2.
I guess Jim Duggan appeared in one of the adverts. That might have counted.
Yeah, Jim Duggan did appear. I mean, I suppose.
There wasn't any like
if
real legend.
Travis Scott.
Yeah. I mean, that felt a little bit on the nose. Like that was very much like expected, and like you could have said like Stephanie McMahon maybe would have been a prediction, but that also
Steve Austin coming out and crashing.
And probably starting off a lawsuit. Probably, yeah.
That man had to have been drunk before he even got on that
because
thing.
Did
you saw it? He missed the ramp.
Yeah, he missed the ramp. Yeah, he completely missed the ramp. Yeah. So that does a lot to our points where we got nothing, which also leads into us getting nothing for the Battle Royale winner because we were all wrong. The crowd booed when Karrion Kross was eliminated. I didn't watch it. Was Braun in it?
Braun, I don't think was in it. I think Braun was in a match before, though, wasn't he?
Yeah. Okay.
And
it was Ray in it.
I think he was like one of the last ones
He
out.
was, I think,
Yeah.
because he got eliminated by El Grande Americano.
Ah, okay.
Despite El Grande Americano wasn't in the match. And remember, Chad Gable was in the match, and El Grande Americano also showed up during the match, so they can't be the same guy. Conclusive proof.
No, just same tattoo, but yeah, different guy. Yep.
It's a popular tattoo.
Isn't it Olympic rings?
Yeah, there's lots of Olympians.
All right, so
We don't know who El Grande Americano is. He could have represented Mexico in the Olympics at some point.
My biggest prediction because of that is I reckon it's Jeff Cobb. He did go to the Olympics, right? He went to the Olympics for Guam, but he went to the Olympics. It's Jeff Cobb.
Because Angle.
Yep. Yes, it could be Kurt Angle. All right, and that does a lot to the points. Boom.
Yay.
Big
We
zero.
are good at predicting.
We are very good at predicting. However, we showed we were good at predicting. Two of us got points for the Raw after Mania. I predicted that Rusev would return, and Rusev very much returned at the Raw by, I think it was New Day were like, oh yes, we'll do a match against Alpha Academy because Maxine called them 60-second men or something like that, and they didn't like that. So did she call them Minutemen? I don't remember. And they were about to have a match, and then Rusev shows up. New Day dips, and then they beat Rusev beats the Alpha Academy up, which Rusev versus Otis. But yes, so Rusev appeared, and then Julia also appeared. That was during the
This was after the EO Fakir match, right?
They interrupted it, yeah. They
yeah,
interrupted EO Steve. Yeah.
Yeah. The Kirk and Gilia came out with Roxanne Perez. I got that right?
Yep.
Or was it another one? I can't remember.
Yeah, Roxanne.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is this going to be a long term thing? I don't know. Like they did seem to come out as a tag team. So
I reckon it'll be a match between like EO. Is it going to be EO and Steve versus Julia and Roxy probably.
Roxanne. Yeah. Could do. I mean, because you could also just have a full way and just have another banger match.
Yeah. Michael, here's your chance to complain about Omos.
Triple H, you are an absolute bloody coward. Not just a coward, you're an idiot. The man was doing so great in Japan, so you bring him back to do nothing. Bench people, yes, you bloody do. You bench the best people. It's dumb. He's so good. Everyone loves Omos. He's the babyface. Like, he should be the one to beat John Cena for that title. So obviously. I am not joking at all. He's the best. Give Omos every title. He should be the real belt collector. He's better than Kenny Omega. He's the best wrestler. Just why? Why are you doing nothing with this man? He's like not just him being a giant is an easy thing to go off of. He as a person just is so likable. Like, he is just let him be himself, and people will like him. And it's just genuinely frustrating because he is actually good. He is actually good if you let him be good. Just let him actually do stuff. Sod it. Put him in a tag team with R-Truth, and he will be funny. He could do that. Like, just come on, please. Please give me Omos back already.
It would be quite funny after this rant that he just appears on SmackDown tomorrow. And I don't know, beats. Don't know, but just beats John Cena. Why not?
Beats John Cena for the title and becomes
yeah.
WWE champion. I will accept that as an apology, Triple H.
You've heard it here first, Paul.
Yes. Although you probably heard it after SmackDown, so spoilers.
True. So that meant that we both got 5 points, and
Yay.
Michael got nil. Okay, now it's time for the bonus question. Where all right, we'll start with Mal predicted that the speed title appears on the main or pre-show, which, to my knowledge, it didn't happen.
No, I was hoping it would. Just to, dunno, just to just to get it off Elon Musk's cursed hate app. But no, it's still on there, forever confined to the depths of whatever video feed X has. X videos, I guess.
I don't think they're related.
Well, as far as I know. Yeah, maybe next year.
Maybe next year. So that was wrong. So I'm pretty sure that was -4 points.
Yep.
Michael predicted someone who wins the title at Mania loses it on Raw, which happened. The women's tag titles were lost on Raw, so Liv Morgan and Raquel are the tag champions again. Michael.
Big up the dodgy women's tag title booking. They don't know what the hell they're doing with them, so just do random crap work. Do my favor this time.
Yeah, I think that was plus
Bring
6
back the
points.
Iconics.
Yes, that would be iconic. Yeah. And then I predicted that someone had a live entrance and they actually win their match, which Punk did, and he lost. But El Grande Americano came in clutch, came out to a
All the
mariachi
dodgy points off that match.
to a mariachi band.
I mean, but by the lesser law, it is a live performance, and
It is
he
a
did
live
win the match.
performance, and he won
So
the
we
match.
can't disagree.
So El Grande Americano has helped me out massively here because I think that's 5
He
points.
didn't beat Rey Mysterio though.
I don't care. At this point, I don't care because we'll look at points where, boom, I get 5 points, Mar gets -4, Michael gets 6, and we will see who's won episode 9, our second review episode. Drum roll, please. I did.
And Zeke can edit it in.
Yay!
I won. I
Well done,
think
Louise.
even if I lost my 5 points, I would have won. So I did a big win. I got 60 points. Michael got 54 points, and Mao, even though Mao did the best
not very good at this.
out of all of us before the bonus question in the second part, Mao then got -4 and lost half his points.
Yes.
On 34.
I'm not very good at this, am I? I'm like nearly half your score.
Yeah, almost very very close. Yeah, I think it's the trend now. Like the 2 episodes, both times the host won. So little bit of a riggery. But yeah. Has anyone got anything else to add about WrestleMania and how it went?
Can I predict better next year, please?
Yeah.
Can Triple H watch this video and just do every match how I say it, and I'll be happy.
Booker man.
Yes, I respect you, Booker man.
On that note, I think it's time to end this very short episode. Yes. Measy, I am very happy that this episode's very short and yes,
it'd be a very quick edit job as well.
I'm gonna have so much fun editing this.
He's only got to count all the yeets.
Yeah.
Yeet.
Yeah.
Yeet. Yeet.
Yeet.
Yeet.
Yeet.
Alright.
Yeet. That's got another like 20.
Indeed. Well, on that note, I'll sign off. Remember, be big mystics, not big mistakes. Bye.
Bye. Bye.